Brake fluid. You know that you need to replace it at some fixed intervals. For example, BMW interval for replacing the brake fluid is at 2 years. But there are some other manufacturers that they have an extended period of time that can go up to 3 years. And you, in best case scenario, have replaced it. You did it because it was requested and probably you never think about why it need to be replaced. That was until now. Long story short is because the humidity, the moisture content inside of the fluid. That can cause corrosion, but more important, will decrease the braking efficiency of the vehicle and you'll have that spongy brake pedal feeling. As you probably know, there are a couple of different type of brake fluids, DOT3, DOT4 and 5. The complete list is a little bit longer, starting with DOT2, 3, 4, 5 and 5.1. Why there are so many? Because science and advance in the technology. The numbers represents the type of fluids. Even if they are used for the same application, they have the chemical composition different, the recipe is different and should not be mixed together. DOT2, it's an oil-based fluid. DOT3, 4 and 5.1 are glycol-based fluids, and the last one is DOT5, that it's a silicone base. Everything is related with the boiling point of the fluid itself. The worst one is the DOT2, that will boil at 190 Celsius, 374 Fahrenheit dry. That means with no water contamination, better said, no humidity. And 140 degrees Celsius, 284 Fahrenheit with a 3% humidity, water content. And the best one is the 5.1, that will boil at 260 C or 500 Fahrenheit dry and 180 C, 356 Fahrenheit wet. And everything is related with the water contamination, the humidity inside of the fluid. That's why you need to change the fluid at a specific interval. The best one is the 5.1 that will boil at a higher temperature. That one can be used, that one is used on the newer vehicles, and the newer generation of vehicles are a little bit heavier than the older generations. The brake rotors are thinner, the brake calipers the same are smaller, and the braking force is bigger. The heat emitted by the brakes it's higher, and that's why they will use that type of brake fluid, the new generation that will boil at a higher temperature. And now I will show you how you can test your brake fluid to see if was replaced, if it's replaced on time or will need to be replaced. There are a couple of methods to test the fluid for contamination. One of them is to visibly check the fluid, and if it's too black, it's too contaminated, you'll need to replace it. Another tool, it's a moisture content tester that is very useful and quick in the results. Another method is using a multimeter that is not too reliable. And another reliable test, the same with a moisture content tester, it's using a reflectometer. The multimeter method is not too complicated. You need to set your multimeter on voltage, on DC voltage. I cannot do that test here in this plastic cup because you need to do it inside of the master cylinder. When the fluid is contaminated, inside of the master cylinder, we will have a galvanic reaction, and that will create a voltage. The maximum voltage that you can have is 0.3 volts DC. If you have over that voltage, that means the water content inside of the fluid is higher than 3%. Next, it's using the moisture content tester. It's very simple. We'll power on the tester. On this type of tester, I can select between DOT3, DOT4 and 5.1. So now I'm using on the DOT4. You can see here the humidity is at 0%. Let me... So this sample, it's at 2.6. Let's check this one. This one the same, 2.6. And the last one. You can see the screen is red, it's 3.9. When I have started this video, the first one was plain, clean DOT4 fluid. Meantime, when I have filmed it, I think this was already contaminated with the humidity from this room. That's why I have this big reading. Come on. Yeah, 2.7. So even here on the moisture content tester, we'll have some information. From 0 and 2%, it's okay. Between 2-3% it's yellow, consider to change, and over 3% you need to change the brake fluid. This is the humidity content, the water content. You can see the clean fluid, it's 1.1, 1.2. And this was everything that I needed to show you related to brake fluid. So the important lesson here is for you to check your brake fluid and to replace it on time. Fortunately, BMW have the service intervals inside of the car and will remind you when you need to change the brake fluid. Do not reset that interval without changing the brake fluid, because you can see how important is that. I had, for example, recently a car that someone replaced the brake fluid but forget to put back the cap on the master cylinder, the plastic cap. I don't know how many months, weeks that car ran without that cap. The car came in the shop with the rear wheels blocked. Fortunately for that car, for that customer, after flushing the system for, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, everything returned to normal. We put back the cap. We didn't find the original cap, but we ordered one. And until now, I don't remember if that car returned. I didn't see that car returning, and I don't think that car have returned because have passed a little bit of time since then. And with this, I want to thank you for watching these videos, and until next time, stay awesome. Bye now.